So I've been having this really weird problem with our outdoor fan where it seems to be only spinning on medium speed and low speed. There's no high speed. Called the manufacturer and they said, oh, it's got to be the capacitor. We're 95% sure it's the capacitor. I watched some videos, but I find it really hard to believe. But, so here we are, kind of, the first pull should be the fastest speed it gets to. And once it actually speeds up, it takes a little bit to get there for one, but two, if you stick your hand on there, you can barely feel the air moving. I've played with the switch, I've reversed the, going up or versus pushing the air down. This is actually about as fast as it goes right here. And then when I go into medium speed, this is again, nothing really changes. It seems like it slows down just a tiny bit, but this is it. And again, it's hardly moving any air. And then I go to slow, and in slow speed, it actually does barely move, and like you would typically expect it to. But this is what it's doing now. The capacitor is just under this little cap, so pretty easy to get to. You can watch other videos. I'm gonna probably record how easy it is to actually change it out. But first and foremost, go kill the power and make sure you have no power going to the fan so you don't electrocute yourself. Kill it at the circuit breaker. And we'll see if the capacitor actually does fix the problem. I'll be very surprised if it does. I think that might be something. So to remove this cap, there's just 3 screws on kind of each side of the fan. So this comes off, and our capacitor is actually right here. So I'm going to trace the cables, see exactly where they're going, and see if this works. Now, full disclosure, I did not get the same exact capacitor as before, mainly because I think it's been discontinued. So the one that I had in here is this, I don't even really know which number to look at, but 4.5 microfarads by 4 microfarads by 6 microfarads at 300 volts, 250 and 250 equivalent. The one that I got that I think is gonna work okay is this one right here. See if we can get it in focus. Seems to be this is probably the newer version on the bottom of what it should be. So 4.5 microfarads, 5 microfarads, and 6 microfarads, all at 250 volts instead of the 300. Based on research that I did, it doesn't seem to be, it shouldn't matter because that's how the capacitors are designed, to the max operating voltage. So it should never exceed 250, but it's that's one of the differences. I think everything else is exactly the same, minus the brown versus purple wires. So we're gonna see what this looks like. Purple, a gray, and a brown wire that's actually going to the switch. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove this little grommet that is holding the switch in place so we can lower this down. Well, it is that easy, just like I thought. As you see if I can do this with one hand. Put a kind of a watch screwdriver in here. Again, just a really thin, small flathead. While this is really hard to do while holding the camera, but let's see if we can do it while pulling this out. I don't get confused as to which wire goes where. Is I'm actually taking the respective, gray wire and putting it back where it came from. I'm gonna go ahead and as I take the purple one out, I'm gonna put the new purple back in. So take the brown out, I'm gonna put the new brown back. So notice that the manufacturer's capacitor had the ends that were soldered and made it a little bit stiffer whenever you're putting it into the switch. So I thought I'm gonna do the same thing. Again, this is just, you may not have to do this, but you know, I got my handy dandy solder here, might as well do the same thing. And this is, again, this is really only for the wires that are going into the switch relay. I found whenever I was trying to insert the wires that were just kind of frayed or even twisted together, it didn't really go in very easily. And in fact, it just all the wires did is just get frayed a little bit more, and I was able to really easily pull it back out of the switch. So I don't think this is certainly a necessity, but you know, I had the right tools, so I thought I'd go ahead and solder the ones, again, the wires that are going in. After soldering the ends of the cable, they slid right into the switch. Didn't even have to really play with it, just worked out really well. So now I'm gonna cut the red wire coming off the old capacitor. I'm going to strip it and fray it a little bit, and then basically connect what's coming off of this switch, so this red wire right here, to the new red wire. And I'm going to do the same thing for the remaining gray wire that's coming off the capacitor. I'll cut it probably pretty short and then strip it, and then made these two together using wire nuts. Wires have been snipped, the old capacitor is out, the new one is in. These are the new wire nuts. The switch just needs to go back in, and I think we'll be ready to test it. So let's go ahead and throw the grommet back together. Just like anything else, I'll probably kick on the power and see if this works first before I start assembling everything back up. All right, so moment of truth. Let's go ahead and kick in the high speed. The first setting should be high, and see if the capacitor actually fixed the issue. Again, before this, I only had a medium and low speed. So even though it was in a high speed setting, it would only spin at about medium speed. And yeah, I can already tell it's moving a lot of air. Before this, it wouldn't even move mosquitoes out of the way, but yeah, this seems to be what saved the capacitor seems to be what saved the day here without replacing the whole fan. This is awesome. So I'm gonna let it run for a little bit longer just to make sure everything is working right, and otherwise I'm just gonna tuck away that capacitor back into that little crevice there and put the cap back on, and it's good to go. Yeah, thanks for watching. I really hope this helps somebody else out. I was very skeptical, but here we are with the working fan again.